Hey guys, so this lesson will be on parallel lines and transversal. So let's introduce by looking at this diagram. What we have here is we have two parallel lines, the line M and N, they're parallel line. So what we're going to do, first of all, we will write them down like this. This is line M, this line is line M, is parallel to the line M. So this is how we write or symbolize parallel line by these two bars. So line M and line N are parallel lines. They're parallel because they will never meet. They will always be equal distance from one another. One another. They're never going to meet to each with one another. Secondly, they're equal distance away from each other. So this distance from this line to this line will remain consistent, will remain same. So they will never get closer to one another. This is what it means to be parallel lines. Okay, now we also have the third line, which is going across like this, line P, and this line P is called the transversal. Transversal. This is line P, transversal. So we have two parallel line M and N, and cut by a transversal P. Now, when we have two parallel lines M. Notice how the lines are going both ways. And N are cut by transversal P. P is also a line that's going both ways. Then it forms 8 angles. So you have when we have parallel line M and M cut by transversal P, we have these angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now these angles have some kind of relationship. We will figure this out in the next slide. You can pause and you can take some notes. So you will need to write this down in your note. You will need to draw this, and you will need to write M and N are parallel. So take some notes, pause it, and then we will move to the next slide. In the next slide, we will see the relationship between these angles. Okay, moving on. So here's the thing. When we have two parallel lines cut by transversal, the following pairs of angles are congruent. Congruent means equal, right? So again, going back to this slide, when we have this transversal and the parallel line, angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are formed, and there is some relationship. What do we know? They have pairs of angles that are congruent. What are those pairs? Corresponding angle pairs, first one. And then we have alternate interior angles, and then we have alternate exterior angles, and lastly is consecutive interior angles are supplementary. So we will look at each angle pairs separately. Please make sure you pause and you take notes from this slide. Alright, so let's start with corresponding angles. So we are going to look at this one first. So we'll look at corresponding angles. Let's move to this slide. Alright, so what are corresponding angles? We want to define corresponding angle relationship between all these eight angles that we see when the two parallel lines are cut by this transversal P. So let's write down, we're looking for corresponding angles. Okay, now let's see how do we find that. So if we look at analyze this diagram, we see that if there's a way we can somehow match the position of the angles from the top intersection, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, to this bottom intersection 5, 6, 7, 8, are there any angle that corresponds to other, or are there any matching angles that we want to figure out? So one way to do this is by sliding this line M, right? Sliding it up and down and positioning into line M. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this line M right here and we will slide it down to line N. Okay, or we can also take this line N and slide it down to line M. Now if you slide it up and down and you notice that it's not only going to slide the line, it's also going to take all these corresponding angles. So it will take this angle 1, it will take this angle 1, and it will bring it down and match it with angle 5, right? So we can say that this angle 1 is congruent or equal to angle 5. Why? Because that's a pair of corresponding angle. 1 corresponds to 5. Now let's check angle 2. Angle 2 is right here. If we slide it down, it will match up to angle 6. So we say angle 2 corresponds or equal to angle 6. That's the second pair. Now we have 2 more pairs. Let's figure it out. We have angle 4, which is located right here. If we slide it down, it will match up to angle 8. So angle 4 corresponds to angle 8. Lastly, we have angle 3. Angle 3 is right here. If we slide it down, it will match at angle 7. So angle 3 corresponds to angle 7. So these are 4 pairs of corresponding angles. Okay, and these pairs are congruent. So 1 to 5, 2 to 6, 4 equal to 8, 3 equal to 7. Please make sure you take notes on this. You can pause, take some notes. Alright, now we're moving to the next term, which is alternate interior angle. So let's define alternate interior angle. So you can pause, take notes. What are alternate interior angles? Let's write that down. We're looking for alternate interior angles. Now this alternate interior and alternate exterior, they are coming from the same group, which is the alternate angles. So these alternate angles are subdivided into alternate interior and alternate exterior. So let's take a look at alternate interior first. So for alternate interior, you have to we use this word as clue to see which one are alternate interior. So when we look at alternate, this word alternate, we're looking at alternate to this transversal P. Which angles are on the alternate side of P? And then, so this is, we're looking at the transversal. Here in this case, we have P. And then when we look at this word interior, we're looking at the interior of the parallel line M and N between these two lines. So let's figure out those alternate interior angles. So what we're going to do is first we're going to look at the interior space between M and M. So between M and N, so we're looking at every angle inside this parallel line. So we're looking at this region inside. I'm going to color code it. Any angle that lies inside these parallel lines, which are the interior angles, we're going to look at this. All right. So we're looking at inside these two lines. So which one are we have? We have angle 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're inside the parallel line. Second thing is alternate. So we're going to look at the alternate side of this transversal P. So here is the first one. Let's take a look at angle 3. So you have angle 3, which is inside these two parallel lines, so that's interior, will be congruent to angle 5 because that's on the alternate side, the other side of the transversal P. So angle 3 is going to be equal to angle 5. That's one pair. And the other pair we have will be, let's see, angle 4. And that is congruent to angle 6 because they are also alternate. They're on the two different sides of this parallel line, transversal P, and they are interior angles, so 4 and 6. So angle 4 is going to be equal to angle 6. So we have these two pairs that alternate interior pairs. Okay, so pause, take some notes, and then we'll move to alternate exterior angles. So the next one is alternate exterior angle. So now we will look at the alternate exterior. So like alternate interior, all we have to do is look at the alternate exterior. So let's write that down. We're looking at alternate alternate exterior angles. Setting up my pen. Okay, so alternate would be the same thing, alternate to the transversal P, and exterior would be the external, so the outside of the two parallel line M and N. So we're looking at every angle that's outside this parallel line, which includes angle 1, angle 2, angle 8, and angle 7. They're outside the parallel line M, and we will look at the alternate one. So let's take a look at angle 1. So angle 1 is located right here, that is outside, exterior, and the alternate one to angle 1 would be angle 7, because they're on the other side of these two parallel transversal. So angle 1 is going to be congruent to angle 7. Alright, let's find the next one. We have angle 2, which is on the right hand side of this transversal P, right? So the alternate one that's outside would be angle 8. So we have angle 2 equal to angle 8. That's it. So these are two pairs of alternate exterior angles. Angle 1 equal to 7, 2 equal to 8. Alright, last one. Please pause and take some notes. Last one we're looking at are the consecutive and interior angles. So we're looking at interior. So let's go ahead and make some room here. So we're looking at the interior, and we're going to look at the consecutive. So again, interior means inside these two parallel lines. So we'll look at angle 4, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Angle 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're interior. Now, what are consecutive? Consecutive means back to back, side by side. So here we have angle 3, and consecutive would also means in this case would be on the same side of this transversal P. So angle 3 and angle 6, they're on the same side, right hand side of this transversal P, right hand side of this transversal P line, right? And they're inside these two parallel lines. So angle 3, if I take the measure of angle 3 and if I add the measure of angle 6, that's going to give me 180. Why? Because they're supplementary. So you need to write this down, that consecutive interior angles are supplementary. They are supplementary. Okay. The last one we have is angle 4 and angle 5. Here's angle 4. Here's angle 5. So we can also write angle 4 plus angle 5 is going to give you 180. Because they're supplementary. They are consecutive interior and they're supplementary. So we looked at corresponding, we looked at alternate interior, alternate exterior, and the consecutive interior angles. So please take notes. You can go back to the lessons and find each terms and make sure you have your notes so we can go over this with example tomorrow.